Welcome to our deep dive. We're going to explore some really cool cybersecurity insights from expert Bert Blevins.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
We'll be using some of his recent YouTube videos and his website. And you know how everybody wants to stay ahead of the curve in tech?
Yeah.
Well, did you know that even things that seem super secure,
Like a what?
like cloud services, can have vulnerabilities?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And did you know there's actually a really simple trick
Wow.
to make your password
Like uncrackable.
pretty much?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're diving deep into all that today.
Sounds good.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
I think what's really interesting about Blevins' approach is that he doesn't just throw technical jargon at you.
Right.
He explains things in a way that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
And gives you advice you can use.
It's super practical.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And one of the things that he talks about that I think is really, really valuable...
is password phrase generators.
Oh, yeah, those are awesome.
Have you ever struggled to remember all those crazy combinations
Oh, my gosh.
of characters for your passwords?
All the time.
I know, me too.
It's impossible.
So Blevins says that these generators are like a secret weapon.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta hear this.
Because they can take random words and combine them to make passwords that are both strong and easy to remember.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So much easier.
So much easier. It's brilliant.
It is.
So instead of memorizing this string of random letters and numbers and symbols and all that,
Punctuation marks and all that, yeah.
you can think of a phrase like purple elephant dancing on Mars.
Oh, I like that one.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to guess that?
No one.
And Delanea.
Now, who's Delanea?
That's a cybersecurity company.
Oh, okay.
They actually define these generators as programs that can make these strong and memorable passwords. And they say that they're much harder to crack than your average password.
I believe it.
It makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah. And the best part is a lot of these generators will let you customize stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Like you can choose how many words you want.
Okay.
You can add special characters. You can even set how long the whole phrase is.
Oh, wow.
It's like a tailor-made security system.
Oh, it's a great way to put it.
For each of your accounts.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy, right?
Yeah, it is.
And it highlights something that Blevins says all the time.
Okay, what's that?
Cybersecurity isn't just one size fits all.
Right. Everyone's different.
It's about figuring out what works for you and your needs.
Yeah.
So speaking of Blevins, I have to say I'm really impressed by his background.
That's so impressive.
He's not just a tech expert.
Right.
He's also an entrepreneur and an educator.
Oh, wow.
And he even has an MBA.
I didn't know that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He makes cybersecurity
Well, that explains it.
relatable, even for people who aren't tech wizards.
Right.
His experience really shows
It really does.
in his work. He doesn't just tell you what to do.
Yeah.
He explains why you should do it.
I like that.
Yeah. Like in one of his videos,
Yeah.
he talks about cloud security threats, which is something that a lot of people don't even think about.
I know, right?
We all think of the cloud as super secure.
Yeah, it's in the cloud. It's safe.
But Blevins points out
Okay.
that even secure cloud services can have vulnerabilities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they're not totally safe.
Right. We can't just assume that things are safe. We have to actually be proactive about our digital security.
So what do we do? How do we be proactive?
Well, that's where Blevins' advice comes in.
Oh, good.
He doesn't just scare you.
Right.
He gives you solutions.
Solutions. That's what we need.
Right. He doesn't just say, be scared. He says, here's what you need to know.
Oh, I like that. Much better.
You keep yourself safe.
I'm taking notes.
And so what are some of the other key areas that he covers?
Well, he talks about all sorts of things, like OT, OTP, MFA, Red Hat Linux password rotation.
Got it.
And privileged access management.
Okay.
And it's all designed to keep you safe.
Wow, he really covers a lot.
He does.
I feel like I'm getting a crash course in cybersecurity just from this deep dive.
It's a lot of information.
It is.
But that's why we're here.
That's true.
To break it down.
Right.
And highlight the most important stuff.
Exactly.
So you don't get overwhelmed.
So maybe we can focus on some of the most important things.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That Blevins recommends.
What do you think is most important?
I know, I'm already taking notes.
Me too.
So what should our listeners really pay attention to?
Well, I think a good place to start is multi-factor authentication.
Okay.
Or MFA.
Yeah, I've heard of MFA.
Yeah.
But I don't really understand how it works.
Okay.
Or why it's so important.
Basically, it's like an extra layer of security. Okay. For your accounts.
Uh-huh.
So even if somebody steals your password, they still can't get in.
Okay.
Unless they have that extra authentication factor.
So like something you have physical access to, like your phone or something.
Exactly like your phone.
Oh.
It's like having an extra lock on your door.
Right.
It makes it that much harder to break in.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So we have strong passwords.
Yeah.
And we have this extra security with MFA.
Right.
What other tips does Blevins give us?
Oh, he has a lot more.
Okay, good, because we're just getting started.
I know, right? This is just the beginning.
I'm excited to hear more.
Me too. Let's dive in.
Well, Blevins talks about the importance of securing all those important bits of information.
Like what kind of information?
Passwords, encryption keys, API tokens.
Oh, right. All that stuff.
Yeah, he calls them resilient secrets.
Resilient secrets.
And he connects this to disaster recovery.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like imagine you have a system failure or a natural disaster or even a cyber attack.
That would be bad.
And suddenly you need access to all those secrets,
Yeah.
but they need to be protected and inaccessible.
That's tricky.
It's like having a backup plan for
Okay.
your digital life.
I like that.
But just for those really crucial bits of information.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
Well, Blevins gives some really practical advice.
I'm listening.
He suggests using secure password vaults,
Okay.
setting up multi-factor authentication to access those secrets,
Right.
and even storing them in multiple locations.
So like backups of your backups.
Exactly.
That's smart.
Just in case something happens.
Yeah, like what if you lose your phone?
Right.
And that's your only copy of a password?
Exact.
Then you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble.
Big trouble.
I'm starting to realize that there's a lot more to cybersecurity
I know, right?
than I thought.
It's a lot.
It's not just about having a strong password.
Right.
It's about having systems in place.
To protect yourself in all kinds of situations.
Like a whole plan.
Yeah, like a whole strategy.
Yeah.
It's like building a fortress
I like that analogy.
around your digital life.
A digital fortress.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we've talked about password phrases
Right.
and MFA
Uh-huh.
and these resilient secrets.
Okay.
It feels like we're getting a good handle on individual security practices.
Yeah, for sure.
But what about organizations?
Oh, good question.
What does Blevins say about cybersecurity on a larger scale?
Well, one of the things he talks about
Okay.
is cloud identity discovery,
Cloud identity discovery.
which is really important these days.
Okay, so break that down for me.
All right, so imagine a company
Okay.
moves all its data and systems to the cloud.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly, they have all these users
Okay.
with different levels of access to
Right.
different resources.
So many moving parts.
It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
Cloud identity discovery is about figuring out
Okay.
who has access to what, like taking inventory of all the digital keys
Yeah.
to the cloud fortress.
I like that.
And Blevins says that this isn't just a one-time thing.
Oh, really?
Cloud environments are always changing,
Right.
so you have to keep track of it all the time.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It does. It sounds really complex,
It can be.
especially for big companies.
Right, with thousands of employees.
Ooh, I know.
But luckily, there are tools to help.
Oh, good.
Blevins mentions companies like Delinea.
Okay.
They can automate a lot of this,
Oh, that's good.
like secret rotation and access controls.
So even though it's more challenging for organizations,
Yeah,
the solutions are getting better.
exactly.
That's good.
And it all comes back to managing risk,
Right.
which is what Blevins is all about.
You know, earlier we talked about MFA,
Yeah,
and I said that I find it a bit of a hassle
I know what you mean. It can be annoying.
having to get your phone out and
Yeah.
enter a code.
Every time.
But Blevins really emphasizes
What does he say?
that it's worth it.
It
It's a small price to pay for security,
Right.
and there are different kinds of MFA.
Oh, really?
Some are easier to use than others.
Like what?
Well, Blevins talks about Oath, OTP, MFA.
Okay.
It uses an algorithm to generate a unique code that's only valid for a short time,
Oh, wow.
like 30 seconds,
So even if they have your password,
Yeah.
they can't get in.
unless they have your phone right then.
Exactly.
It's pretty secure.
It is.
But what happens if you lose your phone
Oh, that's a good question.
or you accidentally delete the app?
Yeah.
What then?
Well, most providers have backup options,
Oh, okay.
like recovery codes that you can store somewhere safe.
Got it.
Or you can link your MFA to multiple devices.
Oh, that's smart.
Blevins really stresses the importance of setting that up.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Right.
Right.
It's good to be prepared.
It is. And it's encouraging to see how much more awareness there is
About what?
about cybersecurity.
Yeah, people are definitely more aware these days.
Yeah, Blevins actually spends a lot of time
Doing what?
advocating for cybersecurity training,
Oh, that's great.
not just for IT professionals.
For everyone.
For everyone.
That's important.
Because even if a company has the best security systems, if one employee clicks on a phishing link and gives away their credentials,
that's all it takes.
It can all be compromised.
Yeah. 1 weak link.
So he argues for a culture of security awareness, where everyone understands the risks and takes responsibility for protecting themselves
and the
company's data.
That makes sense.
So it's about empowering individuals to be the first line of defense.
Exactly.
It's about collective responsibility.
I like that.
For cybersecurity.
That's a good way to put it.
And that brings us to a really interesting point.
Okay, what's that?
That Blevins makes.
I'm intrigued.
Cybersecurity isn't just about technology.
Oh, really?
It's about people and processes, too.
That's interesting.
Which makes me think about everything we've talked about today.
Yeah.
From password phrase generators to MFA to cloud identity discovery.
Yeah.
It's all about implementing processes to make our digital lives more secure.
It's about being systematic and strategic.
It's about being proactive.
Proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. Like anticipating risks and putting safeguards in place.
Before something bad happens. That's so important.
I know. It's clear that Blevins is really passionate about making cybersecurity accessible and understandable for everyone.
He's a good teacher.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But I'm curious.
About what?
What are some of the other key takeaways?
Oh, good question.
That you think our listeners should be thinking about?
Well, let's see.
It's like we've been talking about managing risk this whole time.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about risk.
Right. Like you said, figuring out what the threats are.
Right.
How likely they are to happen.
Exactly.
And how bad they could be.
Then you can put things in place. To make those risks smaller.
And it's not just a one-time thing, is it?
No way.
Things change all the time.
Constantly.
So something that wasn't a big deal yesterday could be a huge problem today.
Especially with all the new stuff happening.
Yeah, new vulnerabilities, new attacks.
It's a moving target.
It really is. So it's not enough to just set things up and forget about it.
You gotta stay on top of it.
You have to keep reevaluating and adapting.
And that's where Blevins is, right?
About what?
About staying informed.
Yeah.
You got to know what's going on.
Keeping up with the news. Trends.
The latest threats.
Yeah.
All of it.
Oh.
That's how you stay ahead.
It's a never-ending learning process.
It really is.
There's no room for complacency.
Nope.
I like how you put it before.
What did I say?
Cybersecurity is a journey. It's
not a destination.
That's right.
And we can all learn from each other.
Exactly.
And from experts like Blevins.
He's a great resource.
I feel like I've learned so much from this deep dive.
Me too.
At first, I was a little overwhelmed.
I know what you mean.
But now...
Now you're feeling more confident.
Much more confident.
That's the power of knowledge.
It is.
Turns fear into understanding.
Exactly. And it gives us the tools to protect ourselves.
That's what Blevins is all about.
It's empowering people.
Making it easy to understand.
So as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with a thought.
Okay, I'm ready.
What's one thing?
Just one thing.
That you can do this week. To improve your security.
Like right now?
Maybe it's setting up a password manager.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or enabling MFA.
Yeah, MFA is important.
Or learning more about cloud security.
That's a big one.
Whatever it is.
Take that first step.
Because knowledge is power.
It really is.
And every little bit helps.
Every step counts. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It was fun.
Into the world of cybersecurity.
Until next time.
Stay curious.
Stay informed.
And stay safe.
Bye, everyone.